Still
And they
doesn't
ignore it.
Oblivious.
Good evening, everybody. I would like to call to order the April 9th, 2025 regular meeting of the Monee Village Board of Trustees. It is 6:34. If we could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Here.
Trustee Henson.
Present.
Trustee Horn.
Here.
Trustee Rigas.
Present.
Trustee Wilson.
Present.
Trustee Udras.
Present.
Open to the public, agenda items only.
Hello, my name is Paula Matherly. I own Straight Home Bar. I'm a member of the Illinois Licensed Beverage Association, and I'm the president of a local Illinois Licensed Beverage Association chapter. I, along with some local liquor license holders and some residents of Monee, ask that the Bring Your Own Alcohol ordinance be taken off the agenda until some concerns and questions can be discussed and answered. For example, Section 6 license fee says the annual fee shall be $500. Liquor license holders in Monee pay more than $500 and also collect a 1% sales tax for Monee. Why can't Monee issue more selling liquor licenses instead of adding different types of liquor licenses? Are these Bring Your Own Alcohol establishments required to have liquor liability insurance as well as an insurance rider to allow THC-infused alcohol? The alcoholic liquor definition under Section 2 says solid, patented, or not. Are customers bringing in alcohol-infused food or homemade alcohol that could have illegal levels of alcohol or illegal substances in them? Section 3C, every container of alcohol beverage brought onto the premises by a patron must be opened by restaurant personnel. Will the container then be left on the table for unlimited consumption by any or all at the table without responsible serving taking place? These are just a few of the questions and concerns that we have. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Paula.
Yes, sir.
I would make a move to accept the consent agenda, except section K4 and section O. I'd request those be removed.
Second.
Okay.
Removed from the minutes,
From the
yes.
minutes, okay.
Yep, thank you.
Mike, second. Discussion?
Do we have a second then? Oh,
Mike,
okay.
yeah. Roll call, please.
Trustee Henson.
Yes.
Trustee Horn.
Yes.
Trustee Rigas.
Yes.
Trustee Wilson.
Yes.
Trustee Udras.
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Yes.
Thank you. Clerk's report, anything?
I have no report.
Thank you. Okay, underneath my report, I just wanted to bring to everybody's attention here that there is a House Bill 3144 which repeals the statewide tax on groceries. The elimination of this tax is effective January 1st of 2026. The authority to implement a 1% grocery sales tax locally by ordinance was approved as part of the same legislation. So for municipalities that are both home rule and non-home rule that wish to implement a local grocery sales tax effective on January 1st, the first step is to pass an ordinance. And then a certified copy of the ordinance must then be submitted to the Department of Revenue postmarked by October 1st of 2025 in order for the tax to be imposed beginning January 1st. So basically what I'm asking is for a motion for Larry to present an ordinance for this at our next meeting.
Do you need a consensus on that?
Yes, please.
I'll make that motion. Or say,
Yes.
Yes.
Are we all good with that? Okay. I know we don't have a grocery store yet, but, you know, and that, since the state's getting rid of it, this at least keeps us from losing any revenue going forward, so. All right. Thank you, board. And that's it for me. Moving on to the administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, first up under my report is Mark Sheldon from Pavlov Media. Mark was here a few weeks ago to share briefly about a project they're working on, and I've asked him to come back and please give us the whole overview.
Yes.
And we're ready, Mark.
Well,
It's all yours.
I appreciate, this has been a great process here in Monee, so thank you very much, Ruben, who kind of first set us up sometime in February. I'd written you, and you got together, and so often I get a call like that, and I get a telephone call, and it's one-on-one with an administrator, and the fact that you were able to put together a number of people, key people in the village, as well as the village president, it was just a fantastic start to this whole process. Coming up here and talking to you a month or so ago as well. Fiber internet, so when we talk about internet, it keeps getting faster and faster, bigger, speeds keep going up because our demands keep going up. And a couple of you are old enough to remember the screeching of a dial-up AOL connection, and boy, hasn't it changed. And it's changed for communities, because this is really high-speed, reliable high-speed internet is a mandate now for a community that wants to grow. But I always say the most important thing for a community when you start is, how are we retaining? How are we retaining our businesses, and how are we retaining our people? So you're going to have people that are going to graduate from the high school here in a couple months, and they're going to go to college, and they're going to be looking for where they're going to take that job. And internet and all the amenities that come with having a high-speed internet experience, about streaming and being able to work from home and not losing sick days and all these other things that are going on, this is going to be part of that quality of life that they're going to be looking for when they're trying to figure out where they're going to settle down and maybe raise their families. And so for a community, it's about retaining your good businesses and your good people, and then it's about the growth opportunities and bringing in new opportunities for businesses that are going to enhance people's quality of life. And so, I always tell people, in Illinois for 200 years we've had growth, and it started out, you had to be on a river, and then you wanted to be on a railroad. We literally have a community in Champaign County that moved their town 1.5 miles south from the river to the railroad in about 1860. And then, of course, then it became state highways and the interstates. And you guys have been so well poised on the interstate, but this is really the next critical step for you. And I see so much growth here, and talking to Ruben and others here about what's on the horizon, it seems like the sky's the limit right now for the community, and we want to be part of that. We are in conversations in 2 communities right now near our network, or where we are already constructed, about data centers, for example. We know a lot of that's happening. And so we're able to do that. One of the things about fiber internet over cable internet is that when you have fiber, so cable runs over copper, there's a limit to what you can put through a copper wire. And it'll get, just like you can only put so much electricity, you can only put so much data through a copper wire. And with fiber, there's essentially no limit to what you can put through that fiber. So literally a single strand of fiber, there are places in America where that is carrying now 1 terabyte of data through there, 1 terabyte. And so I say that because when you get high-end, like a data center, they need 40, 100 gigabytes or bits of data going through there, and we can do that. So we won't start out with that, but what changes is the electronics. And so So if you take a 100 gigabit electronic over here and a 100 gigabit electronic over here on one side of a piece of fiber, you can get that data to go through. And so that's what we're able to do. So that means expansion in the future for homeowners and businesses. But then when Ruben calls me up and says, we've got somebody that's really interested in building something here on, on a parcel, but here's what they need, we're going to be able to do that. The other kind of corollary to that is we have a nationwide network. And so what we're going to be able to do is we're going to be able to carry data for that business down to Champaign and then to Indianapolis and to Bloomington and then beyond, or up to Chicago there's a big data center, as you can imagine, in Chicago. We're connected to the data centers in Philadelphia and Washington, D.C. and Atlanta. So we're able to kind of put you on the internet map across the country. We are a company that does everything. We design this network. We have we will install this or build this network. We'll have a combination of contractors and our own construction crews that will build this network, and then we will maintain that network. So those will definitely be us. So if there's a problem, there's a vault that breaks, or somebody cuts our fiber, which is going to happen sometime in the next decade, there's going to be an accident, and we're going to send a crew up from our place. It's about an hour and a half to get here. Can't remember. I might have was right on the speed limit the entire time when I got it. So about an hour and a half, and so that means we're going to be able to maintain this network really well, from our place in Champaign. And then we're going to market this, tell everyone else about it. We've already started a conversation with your economic development guy here, Bill. So we're going to have a kind of an info session coming up here in the next few weeks, hopefully, where you can have people can come in, find out what this is about, kind of read a little bit like what we've got here, but also get questions answered about that construction process. Construction process is always a real, I talked about this the last time, but I kind of pointed on that brochure to our construction principles. It's very interesting. When I wrote this up about a year and a half ago, things have changed already. I think we are improved on this. I'm just going to give you a couple things. One is that sign. We have always put up signs in our neighborhoods but what we had done was we had put up kind of a couple big signs leading into different places in the neighborhood, and we were finding that people weren't noticing. So here in just the last couple weeks, we got these, can get lots of these. So instead of two big signs, you got the two big signs plus 20, 30 signs, whatever it takes to blanket the neighborhood so everyone knows what's going on, and they've got that number to call so that when there's a problem, then they're going to be able to get information, get their questions answered. The other thing that's going to happen by the time we get this project going here in the next couple weeks, we're still working on it, but we're going to have really a more detailed place on our website for people to go and learn about. I just had this call, so I was talking to a village administrator here just actually on the way up today, and he was talking about people calling him about the flags. So as you know, you'll get paint on the ground, and then you'll have flags planted in your yards. You've all been used to that when utilities are coming in. And then everyone wonders, when's it safe to pull that flag up? And that's going to be on the website. When's it safe? So we usually pull them up. As you can imagine, when you put up 1,000 flags in a city, sometimes one or two more get missed. So we're improving that by making sure that we have more about our construction process, the stuff you're seeing here on our website, handy for people. We're also going to have. This needs, communication is always key, and we need to improve our communication, but we are, committed to making sure that the village knows all the time what is on our construction plan. This is going to be hopefully about a 6-month project, maybe sooner. The project will go as fast as not so much our ability to get contractors, because we're going to be able to get people to come in between our own crews and others, but what happens is you have to locate those utilities, and that's up to whoever locates for the village on the village-owned utilities, but then Commonwealth Edison and Comcast they have to get their utility locators out there. And there's no doubt that in some places, and it can vary by where you're at, that can be delayed sometimes. And of course, when it comes to natural gas, we don't guess, right? So we need to, so that's really the construction process. One question that, we're on construction. So here's the map of what's going to look like. This is what the village, your public works folks have. Everyone has seen it here in the village. So this is like where we go. Just so you know, we come down every street, obviously. Then what we do is we do what we would call a cross shot. So we're not coming down the full length of every street. We come across the street, every other home, and then put a vault every other home. So there will be a vault that will be ready for installation, basically on the line. They'll be in the public utility right of way, but on the line between the two homes. So that way, anybody can get installed in a very, very simple manner. They go right to the vault through their property. We bury it in the ground with a barely noticeable bury. It's like kind of a knife that buries it about 8 inches deep, and you almost won't notice it. Definitely after a week, you won't notice it. So one thing that we added, we were thrilled to find out, you folks have some conduit, one with a lot of foresight. I don't know, Ruben, did we ever figure out when this was put in? I can't remember. Yeah. 14. About 10, 11 years ago. Yeah. So a lot of foresight. This was like super smart, and it's going to really help speed up this process. What we have is some conduit that the village put in that goes under the railroad tracks. Going under railroads is a costly, mostly it's costly, but it's also very time consuming. And going under those, now we've got the conduit, and so we've got the ability now to get the fiber under there. So that's one of the things that we're going to take advantage of, hopefully. That's going to be part of our conversation here. So we're going to be everywhere. We're going to grow with the city. Included in that growth is we got Public Works and the police coming south here, and we're going to go down here. And so we extended our network down into this so we can be available for the Public Works building. And then after we get all this done, we're going to review how we're going to get under the interstate and get onto get west and start addressing the folks out that way. But this is like the most doable and simplest and highest profile. We also started conversation. I've reached out to these folks here at the mobile home area there, and hopefully we'll be able to do something that is private land. So we have to get a right of entry with those folks to do that, but we want to do that. We're hopefully going to get that ball rolling. So this is your network. We have this that the city owns that we want to have an arrangement to use, and then what we call our central office. So everything for this network is underground, except for one thing, and that is a cabinet that has the electronics. So the underground, there will be like splitters that will send fiber into different directions. There will be fiber. All of that is underground and there's a vault, and you could fill that vault up with water, and it would not impact anybody's internet. So there's no electricity going through any of those vaults. But the central office, the head-end electronics that receive the light and send it out, there's definitely electronics there, and that can't be. So that's above ground. So in some communities, and we're hopeful to do that, and it's on the agenda tonight, is we take there by the water tower and the emergency management building, I guess. We'd like to put a 10-foot by 10-foot pad of concrete, put a vault in the center of that, not a vault, a cabinet that's really about, you've seen the utility cabinets that electricity, it's about that big. And that'll hold our head-end electronics, and so that's part of the what we'd like to do. So the idea is we get this central office location and this, and the great news for the village is we're going to get bandwidth to 5 locations that you've got right now, and I don't know if what that's like. We're going to get it there and give it to you. so we'll give you gigabit service to those locations, and that's of course one thing I didn't say. 2 things I didn't say. I'll say them both. When we talk about internet, when we talk about cable internet, the maximum generally right now would be 1,200 megabits of download speed, which is what you want when you want to get a movie from Netflix. You want high, really excellent download speeds. When you want to talk to your grandkids on a Zoom call or FaceTime or any of those, you want great upload speeds. Cable is still limited to generally about 35 megabits of upload, and that'll lag a little bit for one of you, and it'll lag more if you got multiple people in your home that are doing things. We have symmetric, so we're doing 1 gigabit down, 1 gigabit up for the village. We didn't talk about this, but in some of our villages, we increase that if that's what they want. Typically, for dedicated pairs, you wouldn't necessarily need that, but in community, people can get 8 gigabits, as much as 8 gigabits, and that's symmetric, up and down. So that means all of your work from home, experience is really enhanced, because working from home, and for a lot of people, that's critical. I mean, if you're dealing with a lot of documents, you're dealing with a lot of phone calls, you really need that. So, so we're hopeful of getting that done. I'm trying to, let me just, so we do business services, we do telephone services. And that, our people have already been up here starting to prospect, our business service people. Phones are, so voice over internet phones is a really popular thing right now, and we do that, and it's a fantastic amenity for people. And then the other thing that had come up, I want to mention, so about cable. So we do not do a television product, but what we have been doing here, we just started doing this a couple months ago. We partner with a company, let's call it a website that's called My Bundle. What people do is you go in there on My Bundle and you just say, here are the shows I watched in the last 2 weeks. I watched the NCAA tournament, and I watched, Game of Thrones, and you name your different shows. And then they figure out the best way for you to get that and how much it's going to cost. And you're going to take a look at that, and you're going to compare it to your cable bill, and you're going to switch. And if you can do it, if you make a, decide, because one of the things we find out is that you got you're buying every cable channel there is when you buy cable. I mean, tons of things that you're not watching. And so being able to package that together, it's not for everybody. There's definitely people that haven't yet gotten the comfort level with the streaming, but what we're finding is day by day, it's going up, and more people are adopting streaming, and it's saving them money, and so it's become very popular. So that's the type of thing that we're working with people on, companies on that, just to basically make that process of moving from the cable to the streaming experience a little bit better. So it's kind of my talk on the internet and what's good about it, and also about our company. You guys heard a little bit before, so I guess questions, right, if people have it?
So going back to the streaming services then too, so this package or these packages that you are offering now will help those of us who have made that leap to streaming already.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's going to be, so the other, I talked about, the symmetric speed. The other part of our internet that we're really proud of is we really focus on latency. So you get that ping. So when you do the ping, and it'll tell you you've got this many milliseconds, and that's really good, I will say. However, it's a little bit deceptive sometimes, because what it's saying is if you're using Ookla, it's saying here's how long it takes you to get a message to an Ookla server somewhere and back. And you don't know where that Ookla server is. However, for us, what we've done that increases latency, or reduces latency, improves latency, is, and that ping, is we have what are called peering relationships with content providers. So so I talk about CERMAC, there's a huge data center, 350 CERMAC. In that data center, we actually have a server in that data center. It has a wire, right, that goes from a Netflix server there to our server. So when you're on our network engineer guys, and we talked a little bit about coming down for a visit, our network engineer guys design it so that when a message comes out of a Pavlov internet subscriber and says, I want an Amazon, I want to look at Amazon, it's directing that message directly to a particular server. So it makes that actually even better, because you got the symmetric speed, plus we have Netflix movies on our network, attached into our network. So it's very much a big help.
And then for the symmetry in the service, and then it does come in packages. So if I'm living by myself and I watch TV maybe 2 hours a day and I don't work at home, I can buy a little package or a smaller one. And then for the bigger streamers, the larger households, the packages are priced that way?
Well,
like in
yeah,
levels?
so we would not sell that package. We would facilitate, so the My Bundle kind of facilitates. It just, you go in there and people will say, here's what I'm watching, here's what I like to watch. Tell me the streaming services, and then they'll put it all together for you.
So I guess that was my question
Yeah.
then. So you are the hardwire guys. You are not who we buy the programming and the services
Exactly.
from.
Correct.
And that's the My Bundle that we're working
My
on.
Bundle
Okay.
will be one of, some people will not use that. Some people will just keep doing what they maybe already are doing. They've got their Netflix thing and all these separate things.
Okay, so with the fiber optic, you're talking taking the fiber optic up to the house.
Uh-huh.
Inside the house, what does it look like?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we're gonna, at the time they become a subscriber, we're gonna run a fiber optic cable through their yard. We'll bury it. The first day we'll do is, but it'll bury about 8 inches deep. On the outside of the house will be something like this. We're gonna drill a hole, and we're gonna put the fiber through the house there, wherever you want. You'll tell us where you want it, and then we'll put that, and it's a utility type box that you already have on the side of your house. And then on the inside, there will be a similar thing that will be there. That will be what's called an ONT, which is an optical something or another. And and that's got a bunch of ports in it. It's got a 10 gig port, it's got a 1 gig port, it's got a port that you can actually plug an analog phone into if you've got an analog phone. It's got a port so you can plug in your own. It is a wireless device, so it will serve about 1,500 square foot home without any problem. We do extenders for people. They can rent extenders, or they can do their own. People will buy their own mesh systems, a variety of options to get a bigger home. And then there will be a port for them to plug that in, either their own router or stuff. So there'll be ports there. For me, I don't have Pavlov because they're not in my neighborhood. But our TV is plugged directly into ours. We don't use the wireless connection, but you'll be able to use a wireless connection or a direct connection. So there'd be enough ports for you to plug things like that in.
All right, so with your cabinet being over at the Emergency Management Agency, should anything happen in the area, the best connection would probably be there at the Emergency Management building, correct? I mean, because it's right there.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, a couple of things. So one is right off the interstate, so if we need to service something, if something happens, electronics are acting odd or something, then yeah, we'll be able to get right to it. There's going to be a connection with the Illinois Century Network that we'll be able to get to, that's right there at the interstate as well. So that simplifies that and speeds up the process of lighting people up. I didn't say this earlier, but we will start near the cabinet and kind of build out from there. And as we get neighborhoods lit up, as we construct them, and then we'll be able to light them up. So there will be people on the the west side of this design that are going to get internet service while we're doing construction on the east end of this design. So we'll light people up as we can go.
But
So that's one of the advantages to being there.
In case of, God forbid, a catastrophic event, it being there beside emergency management building would probably be one of the better
Yeah.
deals for that than
Yeah.
anything on this side of the box would be messed up, but maybe there it would be, that'd be
Yeah.
a good place for it to be.
Right, and of course, one of the things we want to be able to do is, and we will get a redundant path here. So I told you, we're going to hook up to the Illinois Sentry Network. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but a lot of schools use it. It's used for a lot of things. We lease dark fiber from them, and so we'll hook up to that. But we will have another path coming in. We're working with a couple. We've got one that we're working on, but we have multiple ways of getting extras. So the Illinois Sentry Network goes down, which is pretty catastrophic. That would impact a lot of people, but we're going to you're going to get light. It'll be a blip. Most people will not even notice it happens because it's just going to say, hey, I'm not getting light from here. I'm going to get light from this other provider, and it's just going to kind of seamlessly, the electronics magically do that kind of stuff. Smart guys do it. So yeah, that's a big part of what we do is redundancy, so that there's multiple paths coming in, so that if one goes down, the next one takes over.
So like the redundancy, so you can work off of each other's optics. Light.
Not their optics, just their lights. Optics are the electronics, I would call it, the light. So there'll be light coming in from two different sources, one primary, one secondary.
Can I just say, just the size of the entire center, you said is a 10 by 10, absolutely astounding.
Yeah. Well, the pad that it goes on. So then the cabinet itself will be, more like 4 by 4.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, in there, it's not filled with stuff. That's kind of a standard thing. It is unbelievable. Sometimes I wonder if it's really happening.
So, and I guess my other question says, obviously you guys are utility then, so after the construction is done, obviously, and this is a couple years down the road, so should anybody dial Julie and need to plant a tree or something, you guys would come out and do your own flags then, correct?
Yep, we have in Illinois, Texas, and Florida, where we have fiber to the home, we have our own utility locators. So yeah, and it won't be 2 years. It will be. Let's start drilling this thing in April, and I will tell you in May we're going to have Julie tickets in the first neighborhoods. Somebody is going to put up a invisible fence. They're going to want to put in a new street light. We will have Julie tickets within a month or two of any. It's just what happens. It's part of what we do. So yes, we're signed up on all of that, and it's a routine part. We have people dedicated to that job. So it's a big job. It's a lot.
And Mark, just out of curiosity, how big are the vaults?
Yeah, so there's two kinds of vaults. Great question. So on a major corner, okay, so they're at Manhattan Road and Egyptian Trail. When we make that curve, there will be a vault there, and that'll be about 30 inches wide and let's say 18, 20 inches this way, 30 by 20 concrete vault. So if when the truck goes over that, it'll be able to withstand a semi-truck or whatever. The ones in your yard, in the utility right-of-way, are 14 inches wide, about like 10 by 14, something like that. So they're lake level. They're green. They're not grass green. But you stop noticing them pretty quick. I don't notice the one in my yard, for example. And your lawnmower your riding mower will go over it, so it's not gonna break. Now, occasionally you get just the right angle, and something will happen, and people can call us, or they can submit a ticket online, say, hey, the top on that vault broke. Usually it won't impact anybody's service when that happens. It'll just be cracked. It doesn't. Yeah, it's a plastic, but it's really super hard. I don't know it's got a name, kind of plastic, might be in this thing, but they're very, very sturdy.
Thank you.
Okay, if you could, just for anybody that's watching this meeting later, could you give a brief synopsis, broke down in layman's terms of why you propose that the fiber optic is better than cable or anything else?
Yeah. So one, the speeds. So we've got much higher speed. So you got 8 gigabits. The other part of this, and then even if you get 1 gigabit service versus what cable has when they have 1 gigabit. So literally, so copper wire, it's a little bit like your sewer pipes. There is a limit to how much can go through it. And the light really doesn't have that limit. So what you'll find is, we never have this in our neighborhoods, but if everyone in a neighborhood all flushed at the same time, it could cause a problem, right? And that's what happens with cable sometimes is they have too many people, they're oversubscribed on their network, and it starts to bog down. And we saw this in COVID quite a bit when there were lots of people doing lots of stuff at home. And now we see it like maybe in the evenings where a lot of streaming is happening. And the overall network in that neighborhood, like you're theoretically able to get 1,200, but in peak periods, you're not getting anywhere close to that 1,200 megabits. Fiber can handle that extra demand. And so then there's the upload. So you really want that upload. That is becoming more and more critical. As we know, like you buy a new refrigerator, it's talking to the internet. So all this stuff is going up to the internet, security cameras, Ring doorbells, all of these things, they're leaving your house and going to the internet. That all takes bandwidth. And if you've got cable and only 35 megabits, that Ring doorbell is taking some of that bandwidth from you, and meaning you can't stream it, you can't have the Zoom call that maybe you wanted, or the content to your employer that you needed to put up. So I would say those are the two biggest things. And quite frankly, 1 gigabit from cable, we are going to be well under that in terms of the pricing. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
Okay, well, thank you, Mark.
Ruben,
Yes, sir.
just one question.
Okay.
To get to the west side of 57, do you have a timeline on that?
No, so we were kind of, because you guys are going under soon with, is it water, and we were thinking maybe we could work together, and then the people who know more about this than me say you can't really do too much of that. So so we just have to, I think we will start that planning like pretty immediately. I mean, to us, it's an important part of this, and we know that we are not seeing the end of what's over there. There's a couple cornfields over there that are probably getting ready to be part of expansion for something. So we'll start that planning right away. I will say, so from a financial standpoint, it's a little bit different because the lots over there on the west side definitely are larger lots, which means the cost to build, construct to them per passing. So we have a cost per passing, right? And so it's a little bit more costly to do that build, I'll be honest with you. So that kind of factors into how we go about doing it. But right now, I'm really pushing, I want to see it done, so.
And I don't really know how to ask this question, but for things like townhomes, Gulf Vista, the situation with the box that you were talking about in everyone's yards, or however that works, that wouldn't jeopardize the building that's attached, or I don't know how to say it, the building's so close that would be, I guess you would say, kind of like on shared land?
Yeah, so there will be a utility right away somewhere that we'll be able to get to, almost certainly. But it could be, we actually have a neighborhood in Peatone with no parkway. The sidewalk goes right up to the street, and we're working around that, and we have worked around it already. So there will be a place for us to bring it. But you're bringing up something actually that I forgot to mention. We do, our main business across America, so we have 350,000 people that we serve in would it be a bulk internet solution, so an apartment building where we bring in bandwidth to that apartment building, and then we wire the whole building, and everybody gets it as part of their lease, essentially. And we find that is a growing area, and Ruben and I actually have talked about, multifamily dwellings that are now starting to adopt this. They want it, and that can be anywhere from, when you said townhome, maybe it could be a substantial size apartment building, or it could be like these townhomes that are, there's one big lot, and there will be pods of 4 and 8 units, and we do that kind of stuff all the time. And so we do it either on a subscription basis where the person has the option of signing up, or we work with the landlord, the owner of the property, and then they'll just add it in for everybody, and into their rent, at kind of a discounted rate.
Ruben, is that how it would work in Gulf Vista? Do we have to go through the landowner there?
Yeah, so Gulf Vista, so they own that property, so we have to work with them, and we're hopeful of being able to do something there, because it's a lot of opportunity from us as a company, and for the folks there, we think that it's a great enhancement. So my guess is they were not going to want to do a bulk deal, but maybe.
But we have them in communication with ELS, so he's reached out, and I know they're talking.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, like I said, this has been, this was exciting to begin, and the more I get up here, the more I talk to people up here, the more excited I get about this project. So
Don't go too far, Mark.
I
I
won't.
want to say something.
Yeah.
So I know this is a lot of information. It could be overwhelming for folks my age and maybe a little older. There's a lot here. So what Mark and I, we've communicated several times in the last few days. They are going to put in our newsletter, which is now getting ready to go to print, they'll have a one-page that we've dedicated to this project. So all the information, the contact information, because folks are going to miss this, they're not going to know about this, and are going to pull up to their driveway and they see a sign, and they see their yard or their neighbor's yard, what is going on, and they'll see the sign. So Mark brought the sign, and on that is where you could put your phone up, and that's one way for those who know how to work that, and pull the website up. All the information, it's gonna go right to their front page, and it's gonna talk about the Monee project. But there's also on the sign, for those that are on the flip phones, you'll be able to use your flip phone and call the phone number that's there. There'll be a contact person, and then there's a website as well to go there too. Believe it or not, there's still some of us that have flip phones.
Oh my gosh! Well, I'll have to. I'll tell Father Baker that, who he's also has only a flip phone and not a smartphone. So
we're excited about this. The opportunity, what you're bringing here, and we're trying to make this as smooth and seamless as possible, and I believe it will be.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. So.
Yep.
And they all have my number. So.
Okay, thanks,
well,
Mark.
Actually, my number's in here too. So.
Thank you. So as a board action request, Mark Sheldon from Pavlov Media has provided an overview of fiber gigabyte internet services that they wish to provide to the residents of Monee. Additionally, they agree to provide high-speed internet service to the following village buildings at zero cost to the village: to the new Department of Public Works facility on Industrial Drive, the new police department that will be constructed off of Governor's Highway at Watson's Cutoff, the new Village Hall, which is formerly the Riverside Health Clinic, to Emergency Management Agency building, which is over by our water tower off the interstate, and to Parks and Recreation, to the administration building. In turn, the village will dedicate a 10-foot by 10-foot location at the EMA facility to locate Pavlov Media's data hub. The contract is still under review by our village attorney and Pavlov Media's corporate attorney, and we should have a finalized version to present to the board at the next board meeting. Due to the IDOT and ICC permitting timelines, we would seek board approval to allow Pavlov Media to continue to move forward with their construction project pending the finalized contract agreement. Board action request is a motion to allow Pavlov Media to continue its construction project to install fiber gigabit internet service in the village.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any further discussion?
I would like to see us add the Monee Heritage Center to that list.
Mark, you heard that? Trustee Horn is requesting another location to be added. It would be to the Monee Historical Society.
Monee Heritage Center is right next to the Parks building. They're literally 10 feet apart.
Oh,
And it's a village-owned facility.
Yep. Put it in.
I'm writing that down, Mark.
There you go, please do. And I'll tell my boss, and if you don't see me next time, then...
Any other questions? All right, roll call, please.
Trustee Rakes,
Yes.
Trustee Wilson,
Yes.
Trustee Udras,
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Yes.
Trustee Henson,
Yes.
Trustee Horn.
Yes.
Thank you. And the second board action request is a motion to continue negotiations regarding a finalized contract to provide high-speed fiber internet services to the village.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion on that? Roll call, please.
Trustee Wilson,
Yes.
Trustee Udras,
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Yes.
Trustee Henson,
Yes.
Trustee Horn,
Yes.
Trustee Rakes.
Yes.
Thank you, board. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark.
We will be in touch. We'll see you another time. Thanks.
Thank you. Next, under my report is the Fireman's Park Phase 1 improvements. This is pay request number 10. The village has received the attached pay request number 10 from PSI for the above-mentioned construction project. Farnsworth Group and village staff have reviewed this invoice and have found the work to be in substantial compliance with all OSLED grant requirements and engineering plans and specifications. This payment request is for work completed during the pay period ending on March 31st, 2025, and the amount certified for this payment is $211,618.60. Board action request is a motion to approve pay request number 10 to PSI in the amount of $211,618.60 for work completed during the pay period ending on March 31st of 2025.
Make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Udras,
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Yes.
Trustee Henson,
Yes.
Trustee Horn,
Yes.
Trustee Rakes,
Yes.
Trustee Wilson.
Yes.
Thank you, board. The next item is a lease agreement with the Batterman Farms for parcel number 1, which is approximately 5.98 acres, and parcel number 2, which is approximately 90 acres. Mr. Keith and Brian Batterman have requested to enter into a lease agreement with the Village of Monee to farm approximately 5.98 acres at parcel 1 and approximately 90 acres at parcel 2 of the property owned by the village. Parcel PIN numbers are 2114204000070000, is located on Illinois Route 50, Governor's Highway, and bordered by Egyptian Trail and Industrial Drive. Parcel number 2, which is PIN number 211428100002 and 023, is located on South Egyptian Trail and Watson's Cutoff. The terms of the lease agreement are as follows. The purpose would be solely to plant and harvest crops. Rental amount is $1 per parcel. The lease agreements would begin on April the 9th, 2025 through December 30th of 2025 unless terminated by mutual agreement. Tenant is to provide a certificate of liability naming the village as an additional insured in the amount of $1 million, which has already been provided. The action requested is a motion to authorize the mayor to sign the lease agreement with Keith and Brian Batterman of Batterman Farms for parcel 1 and parcel 2 in the amount of $1.00 per parcel.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, and Ruben, if you could just reiterate too, this is, something that we've been doing with Betterment Farms for years and years and years. So this isn't something new for any of us to be concerned about, and we're very happy to have him back.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Gonzalez,
Yes.
Trustee Henson,
Yes.
Trustee Horn,
Yes.
Trustee Rakis,
Yes.
Trustee Wilson,
Yes.
Trustee Udras.
Yes.
And just as a side note, Trustee Gonzalez, I think DPW is probably the happiest of all. Less grass they have to cut. And the last item is Parks and Recreation purchase of a utility task vehicle, or a UTV. I skipped 4. Oh, they were stuck together. My apologies. I jumped ahead. Okay, we have a bid award. It's Geranium Lane, Country Meadows, Access Road. On April 3rd of 2025, one construction bid was received by Iroquois Paving Corporation for the above referenced project. And the amount of the low bid was $814,970.07. As seen on the enclosed itemized bid tabulation, the low bid is approximately 9.8% lower than the estimated cost of $903,729.00. Therefore, we recommend that the contract be awarded to the low bidder, Iroquois Paving Corporation, in the amount of $814,970.07. Board action requests is a motion to award the Geranium Lane Country Meadows Access Road construction project to the low bidder, Iroquois Paving Corporation, in the amount of $814,970.07. I got that number all messed up. $814,970.07.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Henson,
Yes.
Trustee Horn,
Yes.
Trustee Rakis,
Yes.
Trustee Wilson,
Yes.
Trustee Udras,
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Yes.
Thank you, Board. And just as a reminder, this is Country Meadows. This is a new access road that will connect from Geranium at the far east part of the subdivision, and it's a north-south road that will connect to Court Street, and it'll be an extra access road into the subdivision for the first responders, for fire, and for
There's
police.
a couple of us here that are pretty excited about this extra access road too.
Okay, thank you, Board. And the last item is the Parks and Recreation purchase of a UTV. The Parks and Recreation Director is seeking board approval to purchase a 2025 Polaris model utility task vehicle, or UTV, for $13,016.70. The purchase of this vehicle has been needed for the past few years, but is now necessary due to the growing park complex, increasing logistical demands of village festivals and events, and a need for efficient response to baseball and football field maintenance care. In the past, Parks and Rec has relied on Golf Vista golf carts, or Monee's Public Works Department, use of their gator to fulfill its mission during special events. Should the board approve this purchase, the UTV acquisition will improve staff efficiency, reduce stress and strain on other departmental resources, and enhance our ability to maintain high-quality parks, events, and athletic facilities for the community. It should also be noted that the purchase of this vehicle has been budgeted for fiscal year 2025. Board action request is a motion to approve the purchase of the 2025 Polaris UTV in the amount of $13,016.70.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
So then to Ruben, if you could just confirm to where it was being purchased from and the year that it is?
Yes, it's being purchased from Gina's Auto Sales, and that is on Governor's Highway in Monee, so we're purchasing locally. Trustee Wilson, just to make note of that.
Well, they don't have
And
that.
it is a 2025 Polaris model, which is the Cadillac version, I'm being told.
Okay, roll call, please.
Trustee Horn,
Yes.
Trustee Rakis,
Yes.
Trustee Wilson,
Yes.
Trustee Udras,
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez,
Yes.
Trustee Henson.
Yes.
Thank you, Board. End of report.
Thank you, Ruben. Moving on to the officials' reports, Public Works, Trustee Horn.
Thank you, Mayor. Quick question for our superintendent. Did we remove blades yet from trucks? No. No. Okay. Just wondering, because there's been known in this area to be snowstorms in April, not that I'm trying to jinx anybody or anything on that, sorry. Yeah. Other than that, not too much going on, other than the Public Works building continues to be enclosed and drywalled and painted, et cetera. And the next branch pickup has begun, but the next one will be April 21st. End of report.
Thank you. Moving on to Parks and Recreation, Trustee Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few things going on. Just to remind everybody, this coming Saturday, April 12th, is our annual egg hunt and Easter festivities at the Fireman's Park. Starting at 9:30 a.m., you can bring your pups to Fireman's Park Pavilion to take pictures with the bunny. And a couple new things this year that I'm very happy to tell you about too. So not only will the bunny be there and greet the doggies and take pictures, but the doggies will get their own Easter eggs as well. And another very special thing, and thanks to one of our residents suggesting this, we will have a special needs Easter egg hunt also at 9:30 in front of the Monee Heritage Center this year too. So if you have any children or grandchildren that are special needs and might not be able to get out into the field to do our Easter egg hunt, please call into the Parks and Rec and make sure that you can register or have them there by 9:30 as well to make sure they can do their own Easter egg hunt. And then at 9:30 also, there's munchkins and juice and coffee. Everything will be, at the Fireman's Park Pavilion inside. And you can, the Easter egg hunt then will begin very promptly at 10:30 a.m. across the street at the MEC field because we don't have grass yet. And be on time because all 7,000 of those eggs will be up in under a minute. So make sure you're on time or the kids will miss out. And the Monee Chamber of Commerce is accepting the scholarship applications as well as Ralph Phelan Citizen of the Year nominations. And Monee Women's Club, if anybody hasn't already seen, are taking flower orders for our annual fundraiser for the scholarships, that we prepare, and as well as the vendor fair, which will be taking place on April 26th at Monee Elementary from 9 until 2. End of report.
Thank you very much. Moving on to Finance, Trustee Rakis.
Thank you, Mayor. For the report tonight, the Finance Department is currently working on fiscal year end. This includes various reporting requirements. The village budget is currently in process and will be sent to committee for review in the coming weeks. The Finance Department is also reviewing all internal finance policies that may need to be updated. For example, investment policy, general fund minimum balance policy, and capital expenditure policies. End of my report.
Thank you. Moving on to Economic Development, Trustee Wilson.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'm glad to report that all current development projects are running according to plan. Economic Development Director Bill Barnes is currently working on a couple of new projects that hopefully in the near future we could discuss. Also, when you get an opportunity or chance, check out the village's website, villageofmonee.org, and check out the different departments, specifically economic development, and also you can check out what's new. The segment that we previewed last village meeting, Why Monee, we're going to continue, so there's going to be some new businesses and new content on there, so look out for that. As always, shop Monee when available. End of report, Mayor.
Thank you. Moving on to Building Services, Trustee Henson.
Thank you, Mayor. March totals, we had contractors new or renewed, there was 28. Permits issued was 29. Total inspections were 184. And final certificate of occupancies issued was 7. If you have a warning or if you have a problem that you don't know the answer to about codes or about building services or permits, If you think you might have a question, call Building Services. They're not there to sneak around the corner and slap a ticket on your door right away. If you communicate with Building Services, it's a lot better than ignoring them. So just make sure that you would call them at 708-534-8303. It's a wonderful ordeal, believe me. End of report.
Thank you. And moving on to public safety, trustee Udras.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple things here from our emergency management. On March 29th, EMA found a disabled semi on Manhattan Road at Egyptian Trail that was leaking fuel. Our fire department was dispatched, and also a cleanup company was called to the scene. The spill was small. It was approximately 10 to 15 gallons, and EMA responded with 3 units for approximately 4.5 hours. On the 30th of March, EMA also went into storm mode operations for a weather threat. They deployed 6 units for an hour and a half, and luckily we didn't have to report anything. Finally, for EMA, we just recently replaced the warning siren that was located at the fire station, fire station number 1, due to its age and reliability, and also being a safety hazard because of the pole that it was mounted on. It truly was time for replacement. So the new siren is in service and is in full operation. And for our police department, believe it or not, springtime is here. We keep hearing that good weather is right around the corner. I think we've had a couple glimpses or teases. But with that, it means that there's going to be more kids, more bikes, more pedestrians that are going to be checking out the new sidewalks and getting used to the old sidewalks in town. So spring always brings more traffic and historically greater speeds and more distractions for people while they're driving. So our police department's already planning several traffic enforcement details throughout the village to help keep the speeds down and keep our children safe. So while you're enjoying the great weather that's supposed to be on the way and hopefully will be here soon, make sure that you're watching out for your neighbors and the kids in your block, and be safe. And as always, when you see our officers, give them a wave. Tell them thank you for doing the great job that they do, and that you appreciate what they do for our town. End of report.
Thank you. Moving on to the attorney's report.
Thank you, Mayor. I have 3 items for the board's consideration. The first item is an ordinance approving the purchase of 5647 Gale Street. If the board recalls, we gave authority to Mr. Barnes to negotiate a contract, which he did, and now it's appropriate for the mayor to execute an ordinance to approve the purchase of 5647 Gale Street.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Rakes,
Yes.
trustee Wilson,
Yes.
trustee Udras,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez,
No.
trustee Henson,
No.
trustee Horn.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2081.
Thank you, Mayor. The next item is an ordinance for the approving the purchase of 5615 Gale Street. Once again, Bill negotiated the terms of the contract with the seller. It's up for the board's and review consideration, authorizing the mayor to execute the ordinance on the village's behalf.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Wilson,
Yes.
trustee Udras,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez,
No.
trustee Henson,
No.
trustee Horn,
Yes.
trustee Rakes.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2082.
Thank you, Mayor. The next item, as was alluded to earlier this evening, there's an ordinance relative to a BYOB ordinance pertaining to the consumption of alcohol in certain establishments. It is up for the board's review and consideration.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Discussion?
So I'd just like to say too, and thanks to Paula for bringing it up too, this is something too, I know it would probably be a good ordinance for a town, I think, that needs it, but I don't think Monee needs something like this. There'll be far too few, I think, that it would pertain to, as we alluded to probably a month or so ago. And right now, I don't think we need it.
I would also add, I think, I have a problem with the risk of policing it and trying to enforce it. Controlling, like was brought up, controlling the type of alcohol that's brought in, how it's served, who is able to access it, and I would agree that while I want to support our businesses and I want to see our businesses flourish, I'm not convinced this is the way to go.
We have different categories of liquor licenses for different establishments, and I see this as just establishing another category to help our businesses.
And that can be written up that way, correct?
Yes, sir. If I may, I know Mr. Terrell is here with Mrs. Terrell in case there's any questions the board may have directed to you two individuals.
Mayor, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity. I think I understand what you all are saying. I thought hard on this particular issue. When we started the restaurant out here, that was one of our objectives, to go with bring your own bottle. Now, as a former drinker, which I haven't drank now in about 40 plus years, not selling the alcohol myself, and I don't think at this point I would have any issues with going back to drinking or anything like that. But having, and plus she would kill me if I, yeah, but so I just want to read something. I wrote this out last night about bringing your own bottle, and saying allowing Eat the Bone Barbecue to have this, fostering this business growth while enhancing our customer experience. And our motto for the business is we give you a dine-in experience in a carry-out environment. All right, so that dine-in, allowing this model will make our restaurant more competitive, attracting a wider audience who value the flexibility of bringing their own beverage. By offering BYOB, we create an inviting atmosphere that encourages longer visits, longer group gatherings, and repeat customers. And it also will directly benefit the other businesses in the area because of the number of people that will come in. Barbecue is a great thing that's for beer and wine. That's all we're looking to have. No hard liquors or anything like that. I have gone through the Bassett training. My wife is scheduled for hers, probably this week. We already have it scheduled on there. So, and additionally, BYOB will have us cut our costs. Instead of having an actual bar that we have to keep stocked and so on and so on, this allows us to keep the attention on the quality of food that we get, keeping the higher quality food instead of having to worry about trying to keep a bar stocked, keep a bartender there, and so on and so on. Now, Carol is a certified event planner. And so there's different items that we can do in the restaurant that we're not doing now. We tried the, the karaoke. Every person that was there wanted to have to drink to do karaoke. I guess, I don't know.
Liquor courage.
Yeah, their courage to be able to sing.
So since they couldn't do the alcohol, they just fizzled out.
Yeah. So there's a ton of different items that we can do. I'll give you just one that we're looking to do. You want to talk about it?
And that's, I know you heard of the paint and sip, where people come in and paint and they bring their wine with them. We want to do things like that. We have a lot of musicians that come in that want to play jazz for us, but they say they have a customer base, but their customer base won't come unless they can drink their beer and their wine. So it's a lot of events that we can do to bring customers in, and we have the stage for it and the equipment for it. But most of our customers say they would rather go to a place where they can enjoy their meal and have a drink with it. So that's the only reason that we're trying to do. We're trying to bring more people in because people want to drink beer with their alcohol. They're asking, they go next door to get a beer, and I tell them we don't have the ordinance to do it, so you can't do it. So that's mostly what we get. I'm at the desk all the time, so I get all the questions of why we don't have alcohol with our barbecue.
So with your concern of having to monitor and all of that, that's part of the training that shows us how to deal with carding people, recognizing if someone has had too much to drink, know when to cut them off.
And they can only have a limit. They can only have a limit of 2 bottles.
Right.
No more than that.
So we would spell it out, the ground rules for bringing your own bottle in there. So carding will be very, very important to ensure that we're not allowing underage drinkers to be in the restaurant. So it is, and then you have, without us having a liquor's license, we have Monee Liquors right there. Our customers can go right next door, get their drinks, bring it over, and enjoy the wonderful barbecue that we have and move on from there. That benefits us. It also benefits Paul. There's also like a pairing type thing that we can do to teach people, let them know what type of drinks, benefits that you can have with barbecue, with the spare ribs or with rib tips, pulled pork. There's certain beers, certain wines that pair very well with barbecue. So these are things, it's also an area where we can help teach others what's the best thing to pair and enjoy your meal. So I think and again, I do understand if there's an issue, one of the things that I love, the police department is there, Johnny on the spot if there's a problem. So if there is an issue, now I haven't had any law enforcement, but as far as security and working in different places over the years, I know how to deal with different situations that will arise. We come up with stuff at the restaurant already, so we deal with them. And I'm one of those type people. I'd rather talk to you than to have a big problem. If we have to call the police, that means it's getting out of hand, and we don't want to interfere with our other customers. It's best to have the authorities come out. Could there be a problem? Yes. Could it be a perfect time the whole time? Possibly. Those are unseen things that we have to look at. And so I would recommend that we give it a try.
Because we've gone to other barbecue restaurants to see if they had beer and wine with their barbecue, and most of the ones that we've gone to, they all have the beer and the wine, and it attracts the people, and because they also have entertainment. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring more people to the village.
They're successful in what they're doing. Last time we were here, we talked about how we were partnering with other individuals to bring more attention to our restaurant. Now, mind you, my wife and I, we've been married, it's coming up 44 years. So our life is in this restaurant. So whatever we can do to make it happen. My retirement, I retired from my job after she said it was okay. Then we went from there. I invested everything I have into this because I believe in the plan that it will make it. But now we have to tweak here and there to make it happen the way we see it. I have goals that we have other locations as time move on. And so these are some of the things that will help us be even more successful within the place. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
I have one question. Excuse me. Was there a reason that you never applied for a liquor license?
Yeah, and that's when we got open up the business, our insurance, we already have insurance in there for liquor. But again, as I was saying earlier, because of my background, that's one of the things that I really didn't want to stock and have in the restaurant. Not that I, expect to drink. As I said earlier, it's been over 40 years that have not had not one drink, and I have no intentions of doing it. But I don't want my background to interfere with the number of customers that we can have within the restaurant. There's the thing that they can't take open bottles back out with them. They have to finish it, dump it, so there's a lot of different guidelines that I understand that we have to have by doing bring your own bottle. So again, costs, instead of having that cost for a regular license that could be pretty expensive, by doing bring your own bottle, that's one expense I don't have to have. So now my concentration is not trying to keep money together, to keep the license going, to keep the bar going, to keep the bartender going, and keep this and keep that. Now I can concentrate on keeping the quality of food that we have instead of wasting the money. I won't say wasting the money, but spending the money on those areas.
And Paul has a liquor license.
Yeah. So.
Right. And Larry?
Yes, sir.
What would this, what could this potentially, how could this potentially harm their business if there was a way? What would be the most obvious way that would take place?
Well, I think Mr. Terrell covered that with his insurance. That would be the main concern I had, and I think Ruben did too. He's got dram shop insurance. He would have to monitor the situation, Mr. and Mrs. Terrell. They have a bigger interest than we do. I mean, they're, like he indicated, he put everything on the line for the project. So, yeah, as long as he's got good insurance, I don't see any drawbacks, and especially if you limit it to 2 beers and whatever, that's reasonable.
And the reason we said we limit it because we don't want you to be at the table all night. So as soon as your alcohol run out, then you leave. But if you can continually drink, you will stay there longer, taking up tables that somebody else can be sitting at.
Really good points you guys made tonight, and I'd like to, in addition to my other comment, and let me say it again, that we have different categories of licenses for different businesses based on their needs. This is another category, and I would say to this board, we also, you've invested your retirement savings into this business to make it work. And I would say also to this board, we have an interest in this success of this business as well, with the TIF funds that we've provided and so forth. So I think to me, it's a win-win for everybody.
Madam Mayor, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Mr. Terrell, you had mentioned before that you had some type of marketing consultant that put some numbers together and showed you if you were to have a license, this is the revenue or approximate numbers you can look at as opposed to not having it. And as you've been here before, and as you've shared some of the heartache and the struggles that you've had, can you just touch upon what the consultant shared with you with those numbers?
So we partnered with owner.com, which is, they help restaurants. They help you with your marketing and so on and so on. So one of the things, since we've partnered with them, we've seen an increase of new customers per month. I would say maybe about 250 additional customers now. So that's more revenue.
And that's since January.
Yeah, that's since January, where we're seeing a constant flow of new people coming in. So we have to keep them. So what they're saying is, with the marketing, which BYOB will be another marketing tool that we will have to put out there. We have our website that has been overhauled completely. So now you can order delivery and everything right from the site. We have a app now. So for those of you who want to go to Eat the Bone Barbecue, download the app, that'll be fine for you. But we have the app now. So each of these things, so that they're saying that we should see an increase just through the app of $6,000 more a month as it starts, because it just rolled out in about 2 weeks ago. So we haven't even pushed it yet. So in addition to that, we've seen revenue through the website, where our former website, we weren't getting anything through that one. But on this now, we've made, just in the past couple of months through the website, over $1,000 coming in through that. So what they're saying is, if we market properly, we make sure that we're still giving the quality that we're doing, we make the customer's experience great. And that's why I said earlier, our motto is, we're giving you a dine-in experience in a carry-out environment. So these are areas, so that they're saying we should see great increase over the next 6 months. So, and we're starting to see it. We're seeing it now. And so by doing the Bring Your Own Bottle, that's a whole nother clientele that we're bringing in, introducing to Eat the Bone Barbecue, because now you can sit and have something to drink while you're eating. So we're seeing a great increase now that we haven't had in a long time in the business.
Because a lot of groups are coming in now. We have groups of 8 and 10, and then they say, "Can we go next door and get a beer?" No,
you can't do it. So we're seeing an increase, and so we're following what they're teaching us, and they're making the necessary changes. So we're seeing things really blossom, and I think this will take us up to that next level where we need to be.
Especially with the summer coming, and we have the picnic tables outside now, so that would be another experience for everybody else.
Yeah. So we have a lot. It's a family type restaurant. Everybody, first thing they come in and say, "Wow, you got a stage, you got music." We tried, but now we can say, yeah, we're going to have Motown night this night. We're going to have country night this night. We can do different things that will bring more people into the area. And so, and again, Paul will, Monee Liquors, he will enjoy it. This will be an increase because he's seen, a downshift in funds as well. And so this will benefit him. So I think we're seeing the direction, we're seeing an upward momentum, and so we want to keep that momentum going. We don't want to get halfway up the hill, and then stop and have to roll back down. We want to keep moving forward, and this is one way of adding to that. I hope I answered your question there.
I see two potential problems. I understand the idea here and everything that somebody may have overlooked. Number one, the outside seating. If a bar has outside seating, I believe they've got to be encased in, so it can't be out in the open. The other one is, I believe when you have a liquor license, or maybe it's just if you own the bar, there is, I think, is it with the liquor license, a live permit to have live events there? There's something like that we want to look into. I would suggest, if we could, to maybe look a little bit further into this before we vote on it.
Paula, would you be able to answer that?
I can't answer that. So, there are companies out there called BMI, ASCAP, there's several different ones. What they are is they're music rights companies. In order to have live entertainment, you have to pay them a lot of money. It's a couple thousands of dollars a year, like almost from each one, for us to have live entertainment. That's why we don't do karaoke or bands or any of that stuff anymore. We can't even have a DJ. As a matter of fact, if you have like stuff on your TV, music playing on your TV and stuff, and you have alcohol in there, you have to pay that too. So it's, yeah, you have to have licensing rights or pay music rights, like, music rights to the people licensing the music. It's for.
Even a DJ.
Live. Yeah, even a DJ.
Some of them even, if you're playing it on, like live on your television set in the bar, some of that also falls under it. And I'm just trying to protect our business owners here also. I wouldn't want somebody to come in and then that's some sort of a suit or something. So I'm just saying, if we're gonna do this, let's do it right and let's make sure that it's all set up correctly.
Agree with
Is what I would, again.
Chief, if I can put you on a spot and just ask you, from your perspective, enforcement-wise, do you see a concern? Talking strictly about the licensing itself, the classification.
Not really. I mean, it's, if the ordinance empowers those who are running these businesses to understand their responsibilities, it's no different than having the gambling machines in a gas station or the bars or anything else. It's basically, they police themselves for the most part. They don't want the problems within their establishment. So if we have a problem, we handle it.
So, I'm sorry, go ahead. Just one more thing, or actually two more. The one thing that isn't in here, and you said, to limit it to 2. So if somebody goes next door, they would have to, if there's only beer and wine that you want to do, they would have to go next door. If they bring in a 6-pack, they could only bring in 2 bottles.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Now, this is something, once we see what the ordinance is going to call for, but we can limit the number of drinks that they have. Now, she was saying the 2. We're not saying just 2 cans of, drinks. So it might be where they can only consume 1 6-pack, not bring in 2 6-packs. But that's something we would have to agree upon, because we want to be able to make sure we're fine with you guys and that we're doing the right thing to ensure.
Okay, and so that's probably something that's not in this ordinance now. So the other second half of that is, to Paula's point, you would only want to have in packaged liquors. You wouldn't have the home brewer come in or somebody's toilet bag wine or whatever, right? So, that would be other thing that might need to be in here then too.
Yeah, and we would spell it out as well. Any marketing that we're doing, it would clearly state, this is what we have.
What is allowed and what's not allowed.
Well, and you guys are, one of you are already Bassett trained and another one coming.
Mm-hmm.
You already do, all of that. You know how to card people. So being the devil's advocate here, as usual. Could there be just another classification of our liquor ordinance, or it's like a class 2? Whatever you just said right now, it's a class 2 liquor license. And I understand your past, and God, from my heart, honestly, would that be too much? So you could, as Bassett trained, you could limit even how much you have in stock. Like, we're out.
Well, and that's the thing that we don't want to do, is to have a bar and stop. Yeah.
So, and this is my point, and I wouldn't want to ever, thwart any accomplishments you've made in the last 40-something years, for God's sake. But that would be my only, suggestion, is that it not be its own ordinance or just be part of the one we already have.
Yeah.
With those, the caveats of having packaged and/or limit.
Now, that's not the main, my background is not the main reason for wanting to be YOB. My main reason for this is, one, we can allocate our revenue towards quality meats product versus keeping in stock alcohol and liquor. Because now, if we keep a stock, we have to figure out what's the best thing for people to drink. So now, then we have to have someone there to make drinks and serve people if we go that route. Yeah. But see, then
What beer?
What beers do
What
we
wine?
keep? What do we keep
We
in
don't
stock?
drink, so we don't know what they drink.
I mean, so I understand what you're saying, but the main key is to allocate our funds to other areas that will benefit the customer versus having to have monies that's got to go to things that's not necessarily gonna benefit us.
And so I understand even in restaurants, grocery, whatever, that it's a very fine line of profit margin and everything. But I will maintain your liquor is going to have a.
I'm sorry, John. Your liquor is going to have a higher profit margin than those wonderful meats that you serve.
Possibility, but.
True fact.
Yeah. All right.
I would say that it needs to be a little bit more tweaked and a little bit more detailed. I would think that we also need to look into the live entertainment, and if we were to vote on it tonight, I would not be able to vote either way.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just want to say that I want to help.
For sure.
My concern is how do you police this with limited staffing, right? And if you do bring in the clientele that you're projected to bring in, how do you monitor that when you have someone taking orders and then you have to watch several different groups plus outside? These things could become a problem. They're not a problem until they're a problem.
Until it is, right.
It's part of the growing pains. But how do you police that? They say, well, I only brought in 2 and I only had 2, and they're right because they threw away the other 4 after they finished it. How do you police that? And then that causes, you leave the opportunity for things to happen. People take full advantage of it. It's just the way life is.
Yeah.
So now you have to go to proving, okay, this is what you brought in. You came in. This is the camera. This is the time. You drank 2. We saw you throw them away, and you came up with 2 more. That's a whole headache. But I don't know how you police this. I like the idea of special events, but I don't know how that looks. Finding out that there's additional cost and funds, but the sip and pain and birthday parties or different things of that caliber, that sounds feasible. I don't know. So as of right now, I'm not comfortable in being able to sign off on it. We have to tweak it as the board has stated.
Yeah.
And we could look at it and have a further discussion. But as of right now, we just need to dial it in a little bit.
Yeah, and this is all new to us as well. So I will be visiting a few other restaurants that I know that's doing the Bring Your Own Bottle, and talk with them to see how they're doing things, how will it benefit us. So this is, what we're giving you right now is the surface of what we know. So if we're looking to move forward, I'll do my due diligence on getting more information. The thing about the music, that's, and royalties and all of that, that's something I'll look at. In each of the barbecue places that we know that's doing this, they have live entertainment. They're doing all of this. So I'll be able to sit down with them to find out the do's and don'ts and how are they, keeping track and policing. Of course, we would have to hire staff, some more people that will go through the training as well, and that's of age. And so these are all the things, the minute things that we're going to have to get all of the information. So right now, I'm just trying to see if it's possible. If it is possible that we can do this, then I'll get all the information. So the next time we sit down and talk about this again, I'll be able to give you my plan and what we we're able to ascertain from the other businesses and how they're doing it. So and everyone that I've talked to thus far, they're doing great with the Bring Your Own Bottle. And there's, in Part 4, there's a few places there that's doing it. So it's being done, and it's working, and they're being very successful in what they're doing. And that's our plan, to be very successful in how we're doing it. So this is, what is this? This is step 1, I guess, and then if you feel that this could be a possibility to happen, the next time we meet, I will have my information to answer some of these questions that you're asking now. So I can have those 4 answers for. Right now, I can just tell you how we're going to do things and what we're looking to do or want to do, and then I'll get it. I'll have that information for you.
Couple more things too, just in my thoughts. So you're okay. One is addressing what if I bring in a bottle of wine. Wife and I have a couple glasses, and I want to bring the rest of it home. You know, so I think we need to address that. But I think one of the more important issues that I'm kind of struggling with here too is the cost for the license, and having it be less than what other licenses are, I think is an unfair advantage to the businesses that have chosen to bring the full scale, and serve the liquor themselves, sell it themselves. And because we're talking not just making an ordinance that's going to apply to, Eat the Bone, but it's going to be to every other restaurant in town that possibly wants to look at this, and we have to keep that in mind as well. So I would agree with Trustee Henson and Trustee Wilson. I think that we should not be voting on this tonight. I think we need to look into it. I think there needs to be far more detail taken care of before we do anything.
All right, so if I can ask Trustee Horn to rescind your motion, please.
I don't even remember what my motion was at this point. Okay, I'll rescind my motion to approve.
I rescind my second.
Okay. And I do agree, I think we need to rewrite this a little bit. Paula, I appreciate your input with this. But yeah, we'll get to a finishing place with this, I'm sure.
I'd like to make a motion to postpone until we can get it more dialed in and more information.
I'll second that.
All right. Roll call on that, please.
Trustee Udress?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Rigas?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Larry. Any unfinished business, anyone? Any new business? Open to the public, non-agenda items?
Hello, everybody. John Henson, live in Monee here, resident. This year will be our 5th year for Lead in Monee, Law Enforcement Appreciation Day in Monee. It'll be on May 17th. We will be lining up over at Sheepdog Academy, and for the parade between around 10 a.m. We should be leaving 10:30-ish, quarter to 11-ish, and we would be heading over to the Parks and Recs building. We're going to have it at Fireman's Park. And I just wanted to let everybody know that may be watching or that hadn't known. Tracy, my wife Tracy, and myself have done this. This will be the 5th year. Back during COVID and the Summer of Love and all the peaceful protesting and everything, and the police were at an all-time low approval rating, and I think that they should have a day for themselves, and that's what we provide. So any questions that might need to be asked, you can email us at leadinmonee@gmail.com. Thank you.
Thank you. No executive session this evening, so if I can have sorry, guys.
I'll make that motion.
Have a
Second.
motion to adjourn. Okay, roll call.
I thought she asked for it.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Rigas?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udress?
Yes.
Really?